What's your reaction to what the Football League have said today?
Extremely disappointed in the first instance. I'd like to make it very clear that the football club got about a 5-minute warning from the Football League that this announcement was about to be made. So the football club had no opportunity to even advise its own staff, the players, or get announcements to the fans in advance of the announcement by the Football League. Indeed, it goes further than that to say that the football club was not even aware that the investigation had been concluded and the announcement was about to be made, so they had no opportunity to have any input on the report that was submitted by the investigating accountants, no opportunity to comment on whether it's factually correct even in terms of the information that they've relayed to the Football League. So overall, I would express a degree of shock and real disappointment on behalf of both the holding company in terms of the asset it holds in terms of the football club and indeed in terms of the football club itself.
Did you see it coming?
Certainly not in this way. There's always a risk that the Football League would reach a conclusion that they have. We remain firmly, very firmly of the view that the rules do not apply and that the Football League have now stretched the rules to meet the circumstances and that's inappropriate. Indeed, I've just been advised that Lord Mawhinney made a statement on Sky Sports News only moments ago to the extent that the Football League considered that the football club itself was in administration by virtue of the facts, which is just, I mean, it's quite shocking because it's complete nonsense. In law, the football club is not in administration. I am not administrator of the football club. I have no rights, legal position whatsoever in relation to the football club in that way. So for him to make a statement to that extent, it's beyond belief.
The fact remains, it's their league, it's their rules, they make them. Is there anything you can do about it? Can you appeal, or do you just have to accept what's been said?
I think you make a very, very valid point there. It is a members' organisation, and the rules are laid down by the Football League. And in any such body of that nature, you run the risk, if there's any grey area, that they can interpret as they so fit, and they can leave you to take what action you consider you may have, which is an appeals process. And then you need to fit into the appeal criteria that's available under their rules. We're consulting, in fact, the directors of the football club are in consultation with the lawyers that are acting as we speak, and it is expected that an appeal will be launched, yes, because we believe that our views concerning the application of the rules don't apply.
If you launch an appeal, how quickly is that process going to go on? Because clearly you haven't got an awful lot of time to keep the club up. I
think any appeals process will be drawn out and delayed. I cannot see it being concluded quickly because I can't see. It's an assumption on my part, of course, but I just can't see them resolving the issues quickly, albeit that we believe the issues are actually quite simple.
In which case, you could find that the club stays up and then in the summer is relegated. If they rule again.
Yeah, on strict interpretation, yes, that could be the situation. The interesting thing is there is an appeals procedure under the Football Association rules, and I know that results in QCs sitting down and considering the circumstances. And obviously, we would welcome it being looked at the right intellectual level. The Football League, obviously, we've been very careful on how this has been handled, and the Football League sent a letter to the club setting out what the terms of the scope would be for the investigating accountant to consider whether there should be a 10-point deduction. They then issued a separate letter of instruction which was meant to contain that brief to the investigating accountants. However, the two differed. Without any reference to the club, the two differed. So when the investigating accountants were carrying out the investigation, it was clear that they were going outside the scope of what had been agreed by the club. So therefore, questions were raised, and indeed it was set out in a letter of the 20th of April to the lawyers for the Football League, expressing concern about this, pointing out that there was a difference in the scope, and asking various questions of the Football League relative to the difference. That letter has not been responded to. It's 23rd of April, that letter was not responded to. So we're shocked. This letter also, and I'll quote from it, the company and the club will fully cooperate with the investigation into the alleged breach of Regulation 12.31. But until you can indicate whether there are other allegations that you are investigating, and if so, what those allegations are, or alternatively why the requests for further information about the club are relevant to the investigation into the potential breach, then the company and the club cannot deal with those requests. Now that letter has not been responded to. The report has been submitted in the meantime to the Football League without reference to the club. So to say that we're not cooperating again, or the club's not cooperating, is just considered shocking from our point of view.
Well, I would imagine that as the administrator, you're kind of bound to do that anyway, because you're effectively working for the court, aren't you? So you're bound to cooperate.
You would always cooperate, yes. But of course, if questions are being raised that go way beyond the scope of what you've agreed to, then you'd also be bound to act properly and question why that's going on, and question the purposes of it. Still prepared to cooperate, but you need to understand why the scope has now suddenly changed from what you've agreed to. But there's been a complete failure on the part of the lawyers for the Football League, or on the part of the Football League, I don't know which, to answer that letter. And in the interim, they've concluded their investigations without any reference to the club or to the administrators.
Would it be fair to say, Mike, you're seething?
Cross. Exceptionally cross. Yeah.
Just in the whole way that this is all happening?
No, in fairness, quite shocked, really. Quite shocked.
Do you feel as though Southampton have been given a fair case, a fair crack at the whip? Or do you think they've been punished?
No, frankly.
You don't feel that?
I don't feel they've been given. No.
Do you think? Sorry.
No.
Do you think the Football League have looked at this and seen that, not you, but Southampton Football Club, Southampton Leisure Holdings, whatever, are trying to drive a bit of a coach and horses through a loophole and said, oh, hang on a minute?
I can't second guess what the Football League are doing or why they're acting in this way. If you look at the statements they've made, it seems to be around the fact that they've concluded that actually the football club is really in administration, and therefore their rules do apply. And that's firmed up by the statement that Lord Mawhinney has made. But the real truth of that is just so simple. The football club is not in administration. And you just cannot simply change the circumstances or the law to suit your rules. And to deal with it in the manner, to not give the club notice, to not give you an opportunity to consult with them and have dialogue surrounding the report, I do find quite shocking, particularly when in their own charter they refer to being a transparent and a listening organisation.
Can you just tell us where you're at in terms of your bids to your attempts to sell the club?
We are currently in due diligence with what we hope will be a very serious contender to take over this club. I'm not in a position to disclose who that bidder is because I am subject to a confidentiality agreement, but we believe they would be a very well-suited owner for the football club. We're about to proceed to due diligence with another party tomorrow. So at the moment we have a couple of front runners and there is still interest being shown.
So you must be quite encouraged by that.
Encouraged is a good word, yeah. No deal is completed until the ink's dry on the contract and money's changed hands, obviously, but we are encouraged.
And financially, I mean, are they likely to be in a position to take the club over before the money runs out?
Well, that would certainly be the intention. And one of the points I would very much like to make now is, of course, that the 10-point deduction is a serious issue for this football club, and it's one that we've always taken considerably seriously and continue to do so. However, our primary objective is about saving Southampton Football Club, and the financial position and the other issues surrounding it mean that there was a real possibility that it would fail at the time we got appointed. So if we can save the club, that's the primary objective. I think that's what the fans really want to see, and that's what we're working towards.